Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how I built this mission style nightstand for my son. Now the build process is going to be completely different from the last nightstand that I built, so let me first take you into SketchUp and we'll look closely at the design. So this is the design that I came up with. It's a fairly wide cabinet with mission styling and some pretty substantial curved legs. Now my last nightstand was made using fairly traditional joinery with raised panel sides, which I quite like, but I wanted to do something different. And for this one I decided to do it in a completely different way. I wanted to make a project that was fairly simple to build while still looking nice, so I started with a basic plywood box. I'm even using plywood for the dividers between the drawer openings. Now the legs are going to be hardwood, and what I'm planning to do there is I'm going to cut a fairly deep rabbet in the edge of the legs so that they wrap around the edge of the plywood and hide the exposed layers. As well, on the side, they will hide any screws or nails that are used in assembling the box. And for the front, I will just add some 1/4-inch strips of hardwood over the front edges of those drawer dividers. And now finally for the side, I want to do something about this big plain plywood side here. I don't want it to look like a plywood box. I want it to look like a nice cabinet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut and glue on some thin strips of hardwood here that will cover up the big boxy side and give the illusion of a double raised panel. These pocket holes will be covered by the top of the nightstand, so I don't have to do anything about hiding them, and I'll do the same for the bottom. When making a cabinet like this, I always take the dimensions off the actual cabinet, even though just to double check what's in the plans, because you can't be guaranteed that this is exactly 3/4 of an inch thick, and you might have been off by a fraction of an inch here when you were cutting this piece. So always take your dimensions right off the actual piece before you proceed with building. So the nice thing about this design is these screws will be covered up by the legs. So again, we can put fasteners here that will be totally hidden. Basic structure of the nightstand complete, pretty quick and easy, and then the next step is I've got 4 of these glued up and I need to turn these into the legs that are going to be supporting it front and back. So I made a pattern for the leg and it's going to go fit on the cabinet sort of like that. So after cutting out a curve like this, a lot of people would just go over to the router table and then use the pattern and a flush trimming bit to get a nice curved surface. I've done that myself many times. On these legs, It's only 4, and the curve is very gentle, and I was very careful on the bandsaw, so I'm just going straight to the sander, and I'm going to get pretty good results with it doing it that way. So I have here the screws and the nails from the joinery, and then the leg just fits right over that and totally hides it. And it does the same here on the front. Wraps around and covers the edge of the plywood. Glue is supposed to be stronger than wood. That's what I'm counting on, so I got no mechanical fasteners at all here with the legs. So now I've taken some strips of hardwood and I've ripped them down so they're the exact width of the plywood that they're covering and 1/4 inch thick. So they match the legs, and I'll be gluing those into place now. This top is an example of how I only take plans kind of like guidelines, because in the plans I designed in a 1-inch top, but I happened to have some 6/4 ash that I was using for this, and I didn't see any reason to plane that down to 1 inch, so really instead what I have here is a top that is 1 3/16 inches, so a nice thick solid top, which is going to look great on the nightstand. So now this is the effect I've been looking for. This is a plywood box, but you can't tell. It's all hidden behind hardwood. Here's a close-up of the bottom. So we got the solid wood that's wrapping around the front of the plywood. Here's some plywood also, but with the 1/4 inch edging, it just has the illusion of just being solid wood. So this is the raised panel look we want. But this is the plywood box that we've got. And I'm going to get that raised panel look by taking some pieces which I've cut down to 1/4 inch in thickness. And that will be glued along the top, along the bottom, along the middle, which will give us the look of the raised panel on a plywood cabinet. So there we have the basic unit. I got the top nicely built. See the raised panel effect on both sides now. What started out as a simple plywood box now just looks like a beautiful raised panel cabinet. So a couple of months ago I put out a video on using the small drawer lock bit in the router table to make drawers, and I'm probably going to use the same technique for these drawers, and so I'm just going to skip right through that. This video is getting long enough as it is, and really my purpose with this video was to show the whole business of using a plywood cabinet but then making it look like it was raised panels, and I wanted to make something a little bit different this time, and so I don't think I need to focus on drawer making. We've got the drawer faces all put together. You can attach them to the drawers now, and we're almost done the building part. And the top's loose too. And that's 4. Okay, we got it all together. It's looking great. Now it's time to take it apart because it's time for sanding and finishing. Using this Minwax oil modified polyurethane, so it's oil modified, so it gets a bit of that color, but it's still water based. And no, they're not paying me to say that. I just tried this out on a project and I liked it, and I still have a half can. So. So there you have it. A little bit of hardwood, a little bit of plywood, a little bit of hardware, and it's all put together with a whole bunch of creativity. use drawer slides in this project, but you don't have to. All you need to do is make the drawers an inch wider and then put some hardwood runners in here for the drawers to slide on. I used reclaimed oak for the drawer boxes. I did that just because the wood was free. Otherwise, I probably would have used something like 12mm 1/2" Baltic birch plywood. I'm really pleased with how these sides turned out. I think adding these thin pieces of ash really dress it up and take it from an okay project to an awesome project. The top is laminated from 4 pieces of hardwood ash. I tried to pick pieces that had really nice straight grain and where the grain would really fit well together so that the seams would disappear as much as possible. Now I'm pretty sure that these legs are not what you would call official mission styling, but I really like how the curve just softens the look of the piece. I think without them the whole thing would be kind of boxy and heavy looking. And that brings us to the end of this project. As always, I want to thank you for stopping by and spending some time in the shop with me. If you feel I've earned it, please remember to subscribe and maybe share this video with your friends. If you'd like to build a version of this nightstand, I've actually prepared a plan package which you can find on my website, and all links and details are in the description below the video. So again, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.